Henry, welcome to Honor Cafe Hall of Heroes.
My pleasure to be here.
Well, Henry, we had a good time last night.
Didn't we?
Man, it was awesome.
I left on a high.
Tell us where we were.
We were at church. We were at Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church last night, and Rob stopped in as a visitor, and he wasn't a visitor. He was part of the service. He got up and spoke, and had a vision that he wanted to do, and the pastor said he was in agreement with him, and in fact, we talked about it this morning.
Yeah.
He said he's excited about it.
All warriors, we want the same thing. We want peace, but we want God to show up, right?
If God doesn't show up, it's not anything to it.
That's right. That's right. Henry, where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in Conroe.
Really?
I sure did.
Wow. What was it like when you were growing up?
When I grew up, Conroe had 9,129 people in Conroe. I knew everybody in Conroe, and I left Conroe when I was 18.
18. So you went to high school here?
Went to high school here, finished at Conroe High School in 1968, and worked for the Brown and Root Construction when they were building the dam out there. Well, after building the dam, I said, well, I moved to New York.
It was segregated back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was segregated.
What was that like growing up there? I mean, you really didn't know anything. You were a kid, but just what was it like?
Conroe wasn't a bad place. I mean, you had places that you knew you were welcome, and you had places that you knew you were not welcome. So you tended to stay where you were welcome.
Was it your plan to go in the military?
I always talked about it when I was a kid, and we call it Army.
Yeah.
And until 1965, when one of my childhood friends got killed in Vietnam, I realized that there's something going on that's killing young men.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I got drafted.
Did you have any choice in where you were going to do or what were you going?
They told me I was going to be in infantry.
Wow.
And that's where they needed people there at that time, because they had a lot of casualties every day. At that time, the all news channels showed what was going on in Vietnam. They had a roving reporter there, and he was showing exactly people getting killed, getting medevaced, and some of them you could see that they were dead.
When you showed up for basic training and you hit the Army culture, and we've gone from the time of segregation and everything's changing, everything's integrated. When you got into the Army, was there a different feeling about who you were and what it was like?
Well, Rob, when I went in the military, guys realized that we were probably going to end up in Vietnam, and we had a kind of like a cohesiveness where, we drank out the same water canteen. We ate different foods, no different foods. We ate from each other. We drank with each other, and it was like we had a brotherhood.
What year was that when you went in?
1969.
What was your training like?
Well, infantry was marksmanship. You did the gas house where they did tear gas on you, and we were marching and drilling, and they told us what to do and what not to do. They were training us to go to Vietnam.
Were your drill sergeants from Vietnam?
Did I do what?
Were your drill sergeants, were they from Korea or Vietnam? Or
all of the drill sergeants that I had in basic training in Fort Polk were Vietnam veterans.
So they knew what you were getting into.
They knew what they were getting into.
What were they like? I know they were tough, but
at that time, they were what I would call super tough.
Yeah.
Because they were training guys that to learn how to live, because there were a lot of casualties in Vietnam.
So when did you head over to Vietnam?
Headed over in March of 1969.
69.
Mm-hmm.
What unit did you
173rd Airborne Brigade.
Wow. Those guys were in the.
And those guys were really souped up. They were calling you FNGs, and
Yeah.
uh, uh, but pretty soon they always kind of like welcome you in because they knew that you were a replacement for them. So uh, they kind of left you lag behind, so you didn't get up in the front where the experienced soldiers were.
That's interesting. I've never heard that before from a Vietnam veteran. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What part of that?
You always hear that you were instantly in it, and a lot of guys I've talked to felt like it was just getting through those first few days, but I never heard that type of keeping you back and trying to keep you alive.
Yeah. Actually, when I got to my unit, they were supposed to give you a week of in-country orientation. But in this week of in-country orientation, you were at the rear of the platoon, and the platoon was from here to the tower,
Yeah.
and from this to the tower, and there was a firefight going on. When you got up there, you didn't get to shoot because when you got up there, usually was over in 2 or 3 minutes. But you got up there and you walked around and you see guys dead on the ground.
What was the When was the first firefight? I mean, how was that? I know. I'm sorry. That's a wrong way to ask that question. What went? What was it like? What was that experience like? Can you put it into words?
Uh, the first firefight was 6 days after I was there. Uh, Actually, where I got to shoot my rifle. And 6 days after I was there, we got into a firefight, and 3 Vietnamese were killed. And we got a chance to walk up to the site, and some guys started vomiting. I got to say I didn't, but it made me realize that this is for real, and people were dying and people were getting shot. So I took special attention to make sure my rifle worked fine and make sure that I had the grenades and make sure that I had enough ammo.
We were talking earlier. We're at the Honor Cafe and we're gonna have lunch, but we were talking earlier about how much different it was because you guys just lived in the jungle, and you didn't get a break like the modern soldiers get a break. You were there all the time.
That was my home for a year, and sometimes we were out. The longest was 57 days, but sometimes 30 days. Sometimes you get to come back to the rear, and maybe you got 3 hot meals during that whole time.
There's a term we call battle hardened. How long do you think it took you to get battle hardened?
About 7 days.
7 days.
After those 6 days, when I saw that first firefight, I think I kind of had a change of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got promoted pretty quick.
Yeah, I was in a mortar platoon where we had 81 millimeter mortars, and I was a PFC, and that was in on March the 16th. And the next day, I was Spec 4. 2 days later, I was E5.
Tell us that story. You told me.
We had a general that came in on a helicopter, had a Loach, those little observation helicopters. They came in, and I was a Spec 4, but that was my mortar unit. And we told him, sir, you have to have a helmet on before you go up to the front. And he asked the company commander who was that young man, and he told him who I was. And the next day, I was a sergeant.
So that was a rapid change to where you're the new guy, you're the FNG, and now you're a sergeant, and you're in charge of guys.
Didn't know what I was doing. But I had a friend that had been over for 4 tours, and he said, "Calyen, I'm gonna show you how to stay alive." And I just listened to him and followed his orders. I ranked him, but he knew more about how to stay alive than I did.
Yeah. How do you stay alive?
I didn't want to be a hero, but I wanted to do my part. And he just told me, he said, every fight is not your fight. If you're all the way in the rear, he said, uh, ease your way up there. And it was one of his words was ease your way up there. And I think that's what I did. I eased my way up to uh, not being gung ho, but just kind of like casually took my way up there to the fight.
One of the one of the hardest things I think about, when I think about you guys and anybody that's been in conflict is when you're getting short, when it's getting close.
Yeah.
That's what's that like? What was that like in Vietnam when you're getting short?
Well, when you got short, it could mean it meant that you were going to get out of the military within the next 30 days. You would be going home. You could either go to the rear and you could burn fecal matter. Uh, you could handle dead bodies, but I chose to stay out in the field.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't I didn't have a particular appetite to handle fecal matter, and I didn't want to handle dead bodies.
Yeah.
So I stayed in the field.
But that put you at risk because everybody gets worried.
2 days before I got ready to get out. 2 days. Uh, I stayed at the rear end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. When you think back over that whole experience, what really stands out? Any particular story or anything or something happened with your faith and just surviving and all the things. Your friends, there's so much going on, so much emotion.
The Gideons were the religious people that came over and they gave us those little green Bibles. I yet have mine. But I always remembered anytime we got ready to go on a dangerous operation, I would open that Bible to the 23rd Psalm and I would read it. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And I'd read that whole verse 3 or 4 times. And it would kind of like soup me up, where I didn't feel like I was bulletproof, but I felt that God was going to take care of me.
So, one of the most amazing things about you is so many people come back and they become unproductive. Their lives become a wreck. But you dug into this community and you started serving from the get-go. I mean, tell us about coming home and what you started to do, what your life was like then.
Well, when I got back to the we call back to the world. When I got back to the world, I just had seen so many people that were down and out. I saw how some of us treated the Vietnamese people, and we had milk we had too much of it, right? And instead of us giving it to the Vietnamese people, the mess sergeant would tell us to dig a hole and put that milk in it so he could get his allotment for the next time. And I always said that I wanted to take on a mission of making sure people had food to eat. And when I started working, I would take on my day off. I would go into the food bank and help serve there. And then I had my own little kitchen that I would take food to people, paying for it out of my own pocket, and take people food that I knew that didn't have food. I think America is the richest country in the world And it's a shame that to see people go to bed hungry in America.
It is. You know, and that's how I got to know you, because you're still doing that now. You Pilgrim's Rest, amazing church. You guys are still doing that. You're still handing out food, and you even broke your legs doing it.
I broke kneecaps.
But you're back.
I'm back.
Man, it's just that soldier in you
Yeah.
just kept serving.
Yeah. You know, when this happened to me, Rob, this happened to me 2 years uh, ago. I was 73 years old, and my doctor told me at your age that this is going to leave you crippled or with real bad arthritis. Neither has happened yet, but I'm 75 now, so I just continue to serve. I want to serve until I want to wear out instead of rusting out.
Amen. So that you are a mentor to young men, and you're a life source to the elderly that are shut in right now. But as you wear yourself out, what is it? What is the thing that you say to these young men that are looking up to you? What do you tell them?
When I mentor young men, I always tell them that you can be anything you want to be if you stay out of trouble. That means don't get arrested, don't get in trouble with law enforcement people, and keep your record clean. And whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Well, Henry, I appreciate what you talked about today, but this is an amazing place. The Honor Cafe, Conroe, what we do here, and I'm excited because when I see you, I still see a young man.
Oh man,
I still see a young man because you got the heart of a young man, and seeing your life, there's just no excuse for feeling sorry for yourself or not stepping up and doing something.
Yeah, Rob. When for 7 months I couldn't walk. I broke both kneecaps, and for 7 months I had a whole lot of time to think, and I just said, this is not going to hold me down. I'm going to continue to do what I wanted to do. I'm going to continue to serve the elderly and people that need food, and God has let me do it.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the Honor Cafe Hall of Heroes, and you're going to be a part of the opening of the museum here in Montgomery County, and there'll be another interview down there. But it's just amazing. I just want to thank you for your friendship, and I'm just excited about the years to come as we start serving together.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.